right, welcome into a Week 8 version of Back Sports Page Sunday Morning Fantasy. I am your host, Ryan Stern, joined with me as always, Marthani Sanders. We are both with backsportspage.com. Make sure you're going there to check out all the great content going up on a daily basis. Marthani, what's going on?
Man, I can't believe it now, but we're already halfway through the season. It just seems like
It's
the
crazy.
it seems like the season just started, and now we're halfway through the season. Um, the teams who we thought that were supposed to be good, maybe it's not as good as we thought they were. It's just it's crazy. It's just a crazy season.
I mean, we're now halfway into the season, and uh, right now the Broncos are currently up by 4 points on Jacksonville, but coming into this week, was it Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers combined for 8 wins?
Would have never thought. Would have never thought.
I mean, it's unreal what has happened this year so far in the NFL. That craziness has transferred over into fantasy and in the betting atmosphere as well. I mean, we're looking at now a 7 game sample size, and Daniel Jones is a QB9 on the year. I mean, this is a guy who Giants fans could not wait to run out of town. I've always tried to be as much of a Daniel Jones supporter as I could. I started to get fed up towards the end of last year with the poor play, the seeming inability to stay healthy for a full season, and it goes to show you how important coaching is in the NFL.
No, exactly. It's just from the regime that he had beforehand to now with Coach Dable. It's almost like night and day. You know.
It really is, and not just Dable, but Kafka, and then even on the other side of the ball, with what Wink Martindale has done to this Giants defense, who was atrocious last year, and you're looking at a very similar group of players that are around this year than that were around last year, and you're actually losing Blake Martinez, who played for over half the year last year, and you lost James Bradbury. So you lost probably the two most prolific players on your defense from a year ago, and to me the biggest change has been Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence on the interior of that defensive line has been an absolute menace, allowing everybody else more one-on-ones. And so, I mean, the want to hear how crazy the NFL season is right now? This week's matchup between your Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers is for first place in the NFC South.
Would have never thought. I am like I only saw 3 wins coming into the season. So just the fact that whoever wins this between Carolina and Atlanta is going to be in first place going into November that's just the definition of this season right now for sure.
I mean, the PJ Walker led Carolina Panthers and the Marcus Mariota led Atlanta Falcons. And not just PJ Walker, but it's also a Christian McCaffrey-less
Right.
Carolina Panthers. I mean, the way that they just absolutely went in and took care of business last week in a game that nobody was giving them any chance to win that game. And I mean, this is why the NFL just and I love baseball. I love hockey. This is why the NFL just it blows them out of the water when it comes to regular season. Postseason, every sport has its own specialty that makes it stand out. The regular season, there is absolutely nothing that comes close to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause everybody literally it's pins and needles every week. Anything can happen in an instant. And we're witness to it right now this season. Like when you think, oh, like for example, Green Bay, it's like, oh, well, the wide receivers aren't there, no Devontae Adams, but it's still Aaron Rodgers, and
Right.
they
The
can't
the
even
whole
beat
thing with
Washington.
Aaron Rodgers over the course of his career is he makes wide receivers. It's not the wide receivers that make Aaron Rodgers. Well, maybe it's that he needs really, 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 really good wide receivers like Greg Jennings, a Jordy Nelson, and a Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get into our best bets. Then we'll get into studs, and sleepers. As always, if you have any lineup questions, leave them in the comments, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. If you're on Twitter, reply in the comment. Just reply to the tweet. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, reply in the comments. We will answer them live on air. All right. It is time for best bets. So, what you got for your first bet, best bet of the week?
It's a lot of interesting matchups this week. The Not too many games where spreads are pretty drawn out. Most of them are pretty close. So a lot of these games really could go either way this week. So I looked at the Raiders going to New Orleans playing against the Saints. I think the spread is just Vegas a point and a half, so almost close to pretty much being like a pick 'em. Um, I mean, both defenses haven't been performing as well as they need to, but I do think I like Derek Carr to maybe to play a little bit more less mistake free than whoever the quarterback will be, whether it's Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston.
This is going to be
Um,
Andy Dalton.
okay, so it's going to be Andy
Yeah,
Dalton.
Jameis was ruled out.
I just think Derek Carr will probably make a little less more mistakes than Andy Dalton would. So I would probably take that 1.5 spread right there for Vegas.
Yeah, and we saw. I mean, even last weekend, and I know that we'll get into this matchup. I know a couple times during our studs, and sleepers. But last week we saw Andy Dalton have for fantasy a great game, and for NFL purposes, he was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the two enormous pick sixes in the first half, the end of the first half last week against Arizona. Um, I do think that he is going to. You mentioned playing mistake free. If you're going to make a bet on which of the two quarterbacks in this game is going to play a mistake free game, you have to bet that on Derek Carr. And in a close matchup, that may be the determining factor. All right. My first best bet of the week is going to be one that, if you had asked me a couple weeks ago, would I have ever considered an over in a Jets Patriots game? No.
Mm.
But and I know that there was an injury to Brees Hall, and my goodness, it, I had in two big leagues, I had Brees Hall that I got only because I had gotten him at a value. Um, I wasn't sold on him in the fourth round, where he was going in a lot of leagues. I thought that there were just more surefire bets, but there were two leagues that I got him in either the sixth round or later, and that's where I was able to jump on that because I knew the second half of the year was going to be a much lighter schedule than the first half for the Jets. I just didn't know that he was going to be that good that quickly. And I mean, it really is a shame, but I do think that, and we saw the big trade. Well, I know a lot of people made it seem like this was a huge deal with James Robinson being traded to the Jets. I thought it was more of a depth move than it was, all right, we're gonna reload with James Robinson. I mean, that's not who James Robinson. James Robinson is not Brees Hall. If
Right.
there's anyone in that backfield right now that could duplicate what Brees Hall was doing, it is Michael Carter, and that's why I actually I had put in. There were 2 leagues that Michael Carter was on the waivers, and I was able to get him in both. I do think that Michael Carter is going to be a safe play for this Jets team. Now I know that losing Elijah Vera Tucker for this season is a big deal, but the Jets offense has been more competent than anyone could have ever assumed it would be. And there's something off about this Patriots team. There's just something, whether it's offensively, defensively. We see one week they're steamrolling somebody. And then next week in prime time, they're getting steamrolled by Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. There's just something off about this team. And right now, I think there's too much momentum behind what the Jets have been doing to think that they're going to be the ones who are just going to steamroll the Jets. Right now, the line is at 40. Both offenses, I think can put up a decent amount of points. I actually think the Jets are a very live dog, and I have them in my every week I do. I pick 5 live dogs to parlay with each other. I don't put a whole lot of money on it, but if you get 5 live dogs to hit, even putting a couple bucks down, you're getting a really nice
That's a still
return
good payout.
on
Yeah.
a parlay. So I do think that the Jets are a very live dog, and I can see this going over 40 pretty easily. What do you have as your second best bet?
On the second bet, I'm going to the Titans and Texans. Ryan Tannehill is out. Malik Willis is going to get his first start. And then the Texans, they just not as consistent as you would think they would kind of have been offensively. You would probably say that's probably the best side as far as offensive defense. That's probably the best thing that they have going is the offensive side of the ball with,
Yep.
of course, with Brandon Cooks, Davis Mills. And the line is at 39. I know that's still kind of low, maybe for an NFL game, and it's tricky. But just because of the inconsistency of Houston, and we don't know how deep the playbook is going to be with Malik Willis. Obviously, I mean, this probably would be just maybe a Derrick Henry game, but I'm pretty sure Houston is coming in expecting that. So if it does go over, I'll be shocked. But I'm taking the under just because
So it's
it's
funny
too
because
many variables.
I actually have money on the over in this game, and my viewpoint on it was I think that right now what we've seen from Ryan Tannehill is nothing that Malik Willis can't do.
True. That's true too.
I think there's only more that we can end up seeing out of Malik Willis because of his just God-given physical abilities. And you mentioned Derrick Henry and that Houston's probably expecting. How many times has Houston expected a big Derrick Henry game and they haven't been
he
able
does
to
it.
stop it?
He does it. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah. So, Derrick Henry is someone that I have in a bunch of my cash game lineups. He's expensive, but he's going to be as safe as a running back is this week. So, it, it's one that I had a tough time touching, but there were
yeah,
a lot of lines, a lot of good lines this week. There weren't a whole lot of lines that really stood out to me and said, you really need to attack this one. There were a lot of well position lines. My second best bet of the week is going to be the money line on the Washington Commanders. Last week we saw Washington play as good a game against Green Bay, and I think before the season it would have shocked a lot more people, but this is now 3 weeks in a row that we saw Green Bay lose to the Giants, the Jets, and the Commanders.
Right.
So who exactly is the Green Bay Packers? That's something we don't know. But we saw more consistency from the ability to get Terry McLaurin the ball, something that Carson Wentz just wasn't able to do. Carson Wentz was able to spread it around more, but we saw Terry McLaurin be the featured guy with his guy Taylor Heineke. And now Washington gets to play against Sam Ellinger, making his first career start. He was what, a 7th round pick in 21.
Yep.
He all he's had is experience in preseason, and I know that he opened a lot of eyes this preseason. But when you're a 7th round pick and you were the third string, you're playing against third stringers in preseason games. So this is definitely going to be an uptick in different the defense
Yeah.
ability that he's never seen in the NFL before. So I think giving him a 3-point, letting him being a 3-point favorite in his first game when the Colts have not shown that they can really be 3-point favorites over a whole lot of teams this year. That really shocked me. So I do think that taking the money line on Washington is a really good value this week. All right. As always, if you have any lineup questions, send them to us in the comments. We will answer them live on air. We are going to get into our studs, duds, and sleepers. We'll start off with our studs and at the quarterback position. Who you got?
This week for my stud quarterback, I hate picking on Detroit's defense, but I just feel like anytime anybody is playing them, you kind of have to go with whoever the quarterback is going to play them that week. And I'm going with Tua Tagovailoa to be the stud quarterback for this week. I mean, last week he came back, obviously coming back from the concussion scare that he had, and starting out that first half, it seemed like that they were going to go on a roll, but the second half there against Pittsburgh, they not much going there, but I mean, Detroit's defense is just awful. And the fact that they're pretty much fully loaded, but no one's gonna be missing any time. I'll be shocked if Tua doesn't have maybe not like the same type of output that he had against Baltimore, but 2 or 3 touchdowns should definitely be on there. Over 250 yards, maybe even close to 3. It should be maybe, but he should have a real good week today.
Yeah, and in DFS, he's a really good cash game play. I don't know if he's necessarily a tournament play because the upside may be limited because it's not just going to come from Tua. I think Tua is going to have a really good game, but I think, and we'll address this in just a little bit, it's going to come from everywhere on the Miami offense today. My stud quarterback of the week, and I know that, again, this is more of a for DFS because, of course, you're playing Jalen Hurts in your season-long leagues. But him going up against Pittsburgh, they're well-rested, coming off the bye. Philadelphia has always been, and they're the anti-Giants. Philadelphia always comes off the bye really strong. The Giants have never been a good team coming off the bye. So I really do think that this is a big time game for the Philadelphia Eagles against still a pretty banged up Pittsburgh defense. There's so much talk now in the NFC because the NFC East used to be the laughing stock for how many years of the NFL, where it's like, oh, are you going to get a 500 team this year? And now you have 3 of the top 5 teams in the whole NFC are in the one division. Um, and as well as the Eagles have played, I mean they're 6-0. There's still so much talk and so much media focus on the Giants, on the Cowboys, because not as much was expected from either of those teams. So I think they're going to really come out and want to make a statement. Let the whole NFL know that they're still the top dogs in the division. So I really do think that it's a big weekend. I can easily see paying up for someone like Jalen Hurts because I do think there are a lot of good DFS values at the other positions. Running back, who you got?
My stud running back, going back to that Eagles Steelers game, I'm going with Miles Sanders. Um, I mean, he's pretty much maybe. I mean, he's probably only had maybe one game where he really didn't do much this year so far. But other than that, he's been very reliable. So now I think in this part, you probably play him in your season long lineup and you keep him in there as a starter as long as they're playing and that he's healthy, which is a good thing. You know
Yeah.
that he's out there on the field. So. Obviously, the Steelers defense, like we said, banged up. Still no TJ Watt. Don't know when that's gonna end up happening. So
So
I
he was actually designated to return. So the 21-day period is open. So he should be back. I don't know if next week is the target, but I can easily see week 10 being when we see TJ Watt back with the Steelers.
yeah. So but I just think it's gonna be a good week overall, just for probably any most Eagles players. This should be a good week for them.
And I'm following the same footsteps as you, as I'm going to go with the same team as your quarterback, and I'm going to go Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert's in every single one of my DraftKings lineups this week. The the value that he brings to you. Let me see. I'll get you what his actual salary is, but seeing as where he has been so far in what he's been able to do for the and for your fantasy lineups for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, everyone thought that it was going to be Chase Edmonds coming into the year,
Yeah.
and he was going to be the guy that was going to be more of like a goal line back, but not doing a whole lot outside of that. And he's just been an absolute savior for them. And I don't see that stopping right now. He's only 5,900 on DraftKings.
Mm.
I mean, I would pay for him at 6,900, and you're telling me that you would get him at $1,000 savings. Yeah, Raheem Mostert. That's one of the reasons why he's in every one of my DFS lineups this week on DraftKings. Wide receivers, who you got?
So my stud wide receiver for the week, I'm going with Adam Thielen. He's had a nice solid few weeks here with Minnesota. Now they're coming off the bye week. Everybody's gonna be looking at obviously Justin Jefferson, trying to see if the Arizona can stop him. But I think that this might be an Adam Thielen game here. Kirk Cousins does still love him too. As long as he can spread the ball around, he should be able to have a nice solid week. Oh, I think we lost Ryan, y'all. um, let's see. Not sure what happened, but yeah, I think Adam Thielen is gonna be the stud wide receiver this week. going up against Arizona. Obviously, like I said, he is the number 2 option. But he does have pretty good outings going up against Arizona. So I'm kind of just going basically off of history here on Adam Thielen. I think he'll have a solid week for sure. Yeah, little technical difficulties, guys. Let's see. But yeah, if y'all still do have any lineup questions, anything, still drop them in the comments. Whether it's uh on the live stream there on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you're watching. If you got any lineup questions, go ahead and ask away. Uh, it's a big week. I know a lot of people are compared to last week. We're not missing as many guys as we are this week because there's who is the Chiefs and Chargers. There's on bye week, so obviously you're missing your Mahomes, your Justin Herberts, your Austin Eckler's, um, your Edwards Alaire's. If you've been playing Juju the last couple of weeks, your Juju Smith Schuster's. So you're missing those guys, but you do get back Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, uh, all the Eagles, which we just mentioned here not too long ago. So you know, if you got some lineup questions, always just ask away. But if you want to know who's my stud tight end, I'm going with Zach Ertz. Uh, so obviously looking back at that Arizona Minnesota game, like I said, offense just should do pretty well on that one there. Uh, obviously there's the thing of D Hop coming back, which he had a pretty good game last week against New Orleans. And Ertz productivity did go down, but also, I think he still should be in there listed as one of the starters that you have this week, excuse me, at the tight end spot. I know it's gonna be slim pickings now just because of obviously Travis Kelsey being on a bye week. So that's one of the bigger tight ends that's not involved. But going against Minnesota, they've let at least 3 tight ends have at least 10 PPR points so far this season. So Zach Ertz can give you 10 points. Hopefully, if as long as Kyler Murray is doing what he's supposed to do and not necessarily force feeding it to DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm gonna go with Zach Ertz as my fantasy stud tight end of the week.